How are you today? My name is Elizabeth Willett, Senior Fertility Herbalist with the Natural Fertility Company. We are the naturalfertilityshop.com and naturalfertilityinfo.com websites. And today we're going to talk about xenohormones. Have you ever heard of us talk about, email you about, have you ever read in any of our articles about xenohormones? I imagine that you have. First, I really want you to file this word away for any trivia or board games that you ever might play. It's a word that begins with X. Aren't there so few of them? That's always such a tough word to come up with whenever you're asked to find something that starts with an X. So anyway, trying to be a little bit funny. But xenohormones in all reality are a really serious thing. I don't want to say that they're an epidemic, but they kind of are everywhere. So I wanted to talk about them. We have had a few talks over the past several weeks about different terms that we use in relation to fertility health, and hi everyone, I wanted to come and help you understand what they mean. So in a very simple way, xenohormones are toxic chemicals really, or substances that are not produced in nature that have estrogenic effects in the body in both men and women. This is not just a topic that is specific to female fertility. It has an impact on male and both male and female fertility. And having extra estrogen come into the body through consuming or smelling or putting xenohormones on your skin can cause progesterone deficiency, hormonal imbalance ultimately, if it's happening too much. So these substances, like I said, are absorbed through our skin. They are something we can smell in, and there are things that we consume, that we eat, that we get through our diet and our food and the things that we drink. So you're probably wondering how xenohormones have an estrogenic effect. They combine with the estrogen that the body naturally produces and fight for estrogen receptor sites. They have an estrogenic action. Often they are stronger than some of our body's natural estrogen, and they can get to and bind onto those estrogen receptor sites quicker and with a stronger bond than some of our naturally produced estrogen. They induce the formation of extra estrogen receptor sites. So not only are you consuming this extra not natural estrogen, when they bind and they're in the body, they cause the production of additional estrogen receptor sites. And they inhibit the ability of the liver to excrete, metabolize, get rid of, filter out excess estrogens and toxins, and that's the liver's main job. So I want to share with you sources of xenohormones. This might get overwhelming. It might be an overwhelming list, and I don't want it to be, but I want you to be aware of all of the sources where we come in contact with xenohormones on a really regular basis, and most of us do. And at the very end, I'll hopefully quell any fear or overwhelm. So let's get into this list. It is on naturalfertilityinfo.com, so don't feel like you have to take crazy notes, although if you certainly can if you want to. But we have this information written down if that would be a better way for you to absorb it, or if you'd like it in a printable form, maybe to carry with you. So solvents and adhesives are a place where we get xenohormones. Paint, varnish, nail polish remover, all of those synthetic nails that women get on their fingertips, and dry cleaning, if you have your clothes dry cleaned at a conventional dry cleaner. Solvents can damage a developing fetus and should be strongly avoided in pregnancy. You probably heard this. You probably heard avoid the nail salon. Don't maybe do as much dry cleaning or any dry cleaning at all if you do in pregnancy, and that really is true in any amount actually. Car exhaust. Almost all plastics are a source of xenohormones. Meat, conventionally raised livestock, are an incredible source of xenohormones that we ingest, especially that conventionally raised stuff. If you choose organic, it's not likely to be the case, but the conventionally raised feedlot animals are fed hormones to beef them up and fatten them up faster so that they can go from calf stage to the meat processing plant in a much shorter amount of time than grass-fed or organically raised beef specifically, but it's true for pork It can be true for lamb, is my understanding. It's true for chickens. It's true for all animals, actually, any livestock that we consume. Petrochemically derived pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides. These are put on plants to prevent fungus, pests, and unwanted plants from growing in the fields. So those are sources of xenohormones. Emulsifiers found in conventional soaps and cosmetics, your makeup. If you're buying conventional makeup and soaps, that is a source of xenohormones that we absorb through our skin. We mentioned nails, nail salons. If you're going to a nail salon where the sweet woman or man behind you, or in front of you actually, has to be wearing a mask, it's a pretty good sign that there maybe is something that you shouldn't be breathing in either. And I know that the women sitting there having their nails done aren't wearing masks. And granted, you're not as exposed as much as that person who does nails all day long. That doesn't mean you aren't still exposed, right? So just a thought, give that some thought. PCBs from industrial waste. And this is one that actually sparked this topic, this conversation. Clothing, fabric. Fabric is a source of xenohormones. If you're wearing a lot of polyester, acrylic, rayon, acetate, triacetate, nylon, anything that's static resistant or stain resistant or anti-static, permanent press, wrinkle-free, stain-proof, or moth repellent, has moth repellent on. These are all made from synthetic polymers and treated with chemicals. Can you believe it? I mean, that's a huge list of clothing or fabrics in clothing. And with the legging craze happening everywhere, there has to be more exposure to some of these things, some nylon, perhaps some polyester, perhaps some rayon, I don't know. Anyway, I haven't looked at tags, so I don't know, you want to take a look at your tags. Other known xenoestrogens to avoid are weed killers, food preservatives like BHA, that's B as in boy, HA, conventional sunscreen lotions, food dyes, FD and C. Have you ever looked at a label and seen FD and C red number 3 or blue number whatever or yellow number whatever? They're everywhere. Those 3 food dyes are added to a lot of conventional foods. Erythrosine, BPA. I'm certain you've heard about BPA plastic, or rather BPA-free plastic. It's pretty common now. A lot of water bottles that you find that are still plastic will be BPA-free. They make BPA-free food storage containers, baby bottles, all sorts of different things now, but BPA is a source of xenoestrogen. There's actually a xenoestrogen common in oral contraceptive pills. And then on top of us taking that xenoestrogen in oral contraceptives, we excrete it out into the world. We urinate, and that comes out with, it goes out with the urine and goes out into the environment. Now I know that water often is filtered and cleaned and taken care of, but that doesn't mean some of that can't get back out through into the environment. And what else? Some insecticides. So those are the things that kill bugs on plants or around your yard or home or whatever. Some cities spray for mosquitoes. You might want to be sure that you check out that spraying schedule. Call the city and find out when they do that in the county or in the parks that you love to walk in or take your dog to or play in or visit or hike through, whatever, and see if they actually spray or not, and the spray schedule so you can avoid it at that time, things like that. So I know that list is long. I know it might feel a little bit daunting, but there's a lot you can do. There's a lot you can change, and I want to give you that next. So how do you avoid xenohormones? I truly think that the #1 shift that needs to happen and change that needs to be made is diet first. Now, not your whole, not your entire diet. You don't have to dump everything that's in your fridge and go and get all new stuff. Most of you are already probably eating a lot organic and a lot from local growers that produce vegetables organically, and that's wonderful. But certainly do search out the Dirty Dozen. This is a list of 12 items that should always be purchased organic. They're mostly fruits and vegetables, thin-skinned fruits that you don't peel, that you eat the peeling of, are a lot of them. But then you can also search the Clean 15 things that you don't necessarily have to buy organic, to help you feel like your whole whole entire pantry doesn't need to be organic all at once if you feel like you can't afford it or you're not ready to make a complete switch or for whatever reason. There are some things that you don't have to worry about buying organic, but there are several that you should. Eating a whole food diet is naturally high in fiber. Fiber helps us eliminate stuff that we shouldn't have in us. And that's really helpful for digestion, our digestive tract, of course, but also getting rid of toxins and any extra hormones. And then many of the nutrients of a whole food diet support liver health. And the liver is the master detoxifier. It's what keeps us clean. It works vigorously all the time to filter out toxins and anything we've been exposed to that is harmful to us. So supporting liver health is a really important step. And you can do that, number one, through eating really healthy whole foods. Lots of fruits and veggies, lots of whole grains, beans, legumes. You know this, the fertility diet or something similar. Of course, avoid exposure to pesticides, herbicides, and synthetic fertilizers. Around where I live, there are several different lawn care companies that are out and about a lot around here this spring. And some of them spray a liquid, and the men have to wear gloves up to their elbows and boots up to their knees while they walk around spraying this liquid on people's grasses to keep them from growing dandelions, essentially. Yeah, so if you have that done to your lawn, make sure you stay out of it or consider maybe switching to a more granular approach to lawn care, or find a local herbalist who might want to harvest your dandelions. You talk to a few of my friends, they've seen me out in the front yard picking dandelions a few times. But anyway, and that might not be possible, but think about lawn care if you own a home with a lawn and how you care for the lawn. Next, what else can you do? Use natural feminine care products. This one is a big one. This is a really easy switch to make. You don't want to be putting bleached fabrics down there during your period when it gets a little bit warmer at times. And there's, you know, I don't need to go into the details with you about what it's like to have a period. All of you women completely get it. But there are some very thin skins down there that can absorb things, and they do, and especially for using tampons and inserting them inside of yourself, it's really important to choose as natural of feminine care product as you possibly can. Natural body care products including makeup, soap, lotion, scent, perfume. Perfume is a big one. Switch to a natural scent. There are, I don't have any companies off the top of my head, but anyone who has essential oils can help you with the blend that it will smell beautiful. It doesn't last as long as a perfume, of course, but you really shouldn't be putting something on your body that you can smell 18 hours later, 5 hours later, to be honest. That's not very healthy. Deodorant's a big one. A lot of women, I get it, if you're a professional or you're an athlete, or even if you're none of those things, it's really hard to sweat and have underarm circles in your shirt. It can be embarrassing. It's just not something we've been trained to like or think is fine for most of us. There are certainly others who don't mind it and have totally jumped ship and use natural deodorants that aren't antiperspirants, but that truly is the most healthy thing for you. You're applying an antiperspirant, something that's supposed to stop you from sweating, which is a natural way of the skin detoxifying in a place where you have lymph nodes and where the skin is rather thin and able to absorb a lot, and that's just not really healthy. So think about a natural deodorant of some sort. Magnesium oil actually can help stop some sweating, can be natural antiperspirant, and it's not harmful at all. I'm just learning about this myself, actually. I'm doing a little test run with some homemade deodorant. My mother-in-law and my mom and I are all trying it out, and so far it's been amazing, but the base of it is a magnesium oil. So anyway, for what that's worth, maybe someday I'll share the recipe with you if it passes our test with flying colors. So yeah, deodorant. Avoid food preservatives and dyes. If you're choosing organic, you're already naturally doing that, so check mark off the list. Use low VOC paints. If you have a painting project coming up, try to use paint that's low VOC, or perhaps not be around when it's happening, the painting. I mean, that means someone else is being exposed to those VOCs, but yeah, anyway, think about that. Use recycled, unbleached paper products. Picnic season is here for those of us where it's spring and summer, and sometimes when you're having picnics, you just go grab the cheapest, easiest to get rid of product, and usually that's a bleached white paper plate or something that's been dyed. So consider switching to an unbleached paper product, but that's true also of paper towels if you use them, toilet paper. Everyone uses toilet paper, most everyone. Yeah, most paper products. What else? If you use any bleach in your laundry, you could choose a non-chlorinated bleach because bleach is a source of xenohormones. We talked about plastics. Try to avoid plastics, and most certainly if you use plastic, choose BPA-free and do not heat your food in plastic, whether it's in mostly microwave, right? We don't usually put plastic on the stove or in the oven. Try to heat in the microwave in glass. I'm sure you've got those things on hand or some sort of glass, 4x4 baking dish or whatever, to try and heat your food in that anyway. And then look for natural fibers in your clothes. I mean, if you were kind of shocked by the clothing addition to this conversation, there are natural fibers. Cotton, silk, linen, hemp, wool, and cashmere are all great. There probably are more, but those are the few that came to the top of my head when I was creating this list. Okay, someone just said BPA was removed and the replacement is just as toxic. There are people who believe that. I haven't done any research to be able to say yes or no. I'm not an expert on plastics or BPA or even xenohormones, to be honest. I do a lot of learning daily, and something adds to my list daily. But glass is best. Ultimately, they're making glass water bottles. They're making stainless steel water bottles. Those would be the best choices, glass or stainless steel. So yeah, anyway, that's that. So the last bit about clothing, if you purchase organic clothing, it may still be processed to some extent and may still, it's just better than some of those synthetic choices. So that was my last note about clothing. All right, so now what, right? So if you're overwhelmed and you're thinking, oh my gosh, that list was huge. Do I need to run out and make changes now and switch everything? I mean, if that's your personality, go for it and have fun. I mean, you get to go shopping, right? But anyway, it's not reality for a lot of us. A lot of us sit here going, I think I'm gonna just stay in a bubble. And you don't have to do that either. What I suggest is looking at your lifestyle and your diet and picking one area to start with that you think is probably the place where you are most exposed to xenohormones. Do you go to the salon and get your nails done? Could that be something you stop? Do you use conventional cleaning products? Could that be a place to switch? In fact, that was the easiest place for me to make the switch, and that's where I started, was my cleaning products. I found, after doing a little bit of research and just walking around the aisle at Target, actually, the cleaning supply aisle, that the prices weren't really that different. And that there are several different alternatives. You know, you're sometimes paying for a name, excuse me, like a name brand. But for the most part, the prices weren't that different, and it made the most sense to me to change that around in my life. And then, of course, diet. But I also grow my own food, and I know that's not reality for other people. But I love farmers markets this time of year, and I have a couple of resources where I live where organic foods are made affordable, and you may too. It's just going to take a little bit of research. So I would say try starting in those two places, but like I said, take a look at your own diet and lifestyle and see where you might be most exposed and consider making some switches. Or certainly exploring where you live and seeing what's available to you. You know, if you're in small towns, there might not be much, but we have endless opportunities for buying things online, right? So for most of us, things are within our reach to some extent. So yeah, the easiest place is going to be for you a little bit different than it is for me, and I just encourage you to, you know, keep learning. Learn about the stuff you're already using, read labels, and then take a look at what you're already using and where you could even begin to switch that. I remember, and I've shared with this on a Periscope before, maybe not all of you heard it, but we were talking about this topic in relation to endometriosis as a team, the Fertility crew we call ourselves. And Heather, the site's founder, said something that has stuck with me still. She goes, the two places where you have have the right to change is your diet and your body care products, like the things that you put on your body and in your body. So if you want to start there because it's in your power to make a change if you are using something you're not quite sure is the best for your fertility health. All right, so our topic on xenohormones. It's kind of a lot. I'm sorry if I overwhelmed you, yet I'm really hoping that you were informed and found something or some place where you can begin to make change. And if you want more information, contact us. We've got more. We have a guide that shares a lot more than I was able to share here, and we can help you, get to the environmental working group if you're not able to find them, or we can just help with any other suggestions that you need. So anyway, thank you so much for coming today, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Bye. Take care.